Right, welcome to another long overdue episode of the Sheriff Supplement Spotlight. Today I'm going to be discussing ProSupps I-Load and breaking down the ins and outs and why you should be incorporating it in your regime. What is insulin sensitivity and why is it so relevant for the informed lifter? A broad definition of insulin sensitivity refers to how much insulin your body releases in accordance with spikes in blood glucose, and furthermore, how receptive your body is to that insulin. Insulin shuttles glucose into either muscles or liver cells, where it is stored as glycogen, or into adipose cells, where unfortunately for us, it is stored as fat. A plethora of other factors can spike insulin, and for the informed athlete, this can be either favorable or detrimental depending on one's goals. For our intents and purposes, the greater one's insulin sensitivity, the less insulin one requires to store glucose as glycogen. For our intents and purposes, the greater one's insulin sensitivity, the less insulin one requires to store glucose as glycogen. Higher levels of insulin and blood sugar for longer, prolonged periods will result in insulin resistance, and in the long run, this will lead to type 2 diabetes and possibly metabolic syndrome, which can result in heart disease. Aside from our aesthetic or performance purposes, this is not great. Generally speaking, in and around training times, you want to preserve, replenish, and restock glycogen as a foremost priority. This will greatly accelerate muscle recovery and spur protein synthesis and new growth. Insulin is the most anabolic hormone in the body, so the more effective we can make it and the more sensitive we are to this hormone, the greater our propensity to grow and develop new muscle tissue, and the less chance we have of getting diabetes and the associated risks thereof. For years, I've been combining a plethora of over-the-counter individual herbal constituents renowned clinically for their ability to act either as insulin potentiators, insulin mimetics, and or insulin partitioning agents for my athletes and clients in and around their peri-workout nutrition times to assist with insulin functioning and glucose metabolism. What this means is that these products were aimed at making the metabolic processes of insulin as effective as possible while doubling up to assist other micronutrients piggyback on insulin secretion to more rapidly enter muscle cells and assist with muscle cell hyperemia in and around training times. I called this rather large handful of pills the Sheriff Stack. The result thereof was a very arduous and very laborious trips to multiple pharmacies and health shops to find these hard to acquire individual constituents, like bitter melon cord, Gymnema sylvestre, and banaba extract, which have been used in Asiatic countries for decades in lieu of pharmaceutical therapy in the treatment of insulin-resistant ailments. These products have been clinically proven to reduce blood glucose levels, even on parity with medication like metformin, also known as glucophage, with substantially less side effects and associated risk usage. ProSupps then released a full turnkey solution in the form of I-Load, which pretty much encapsulates almost all of these individual ingredients in efficacious doses in 2 easy-to-consume pills. I am a massive proponent of easily digestible intra-workout carbohydrates for myself personally and all of my athletes and clients, unless in severe cases of carbohydrate depletion for other intents and purposes. So I have the majority of my clients on I-Load, either before and after training times in accordance with their personal carbohydrate specificity, and have them ingesting rapidly digestible carb sources like cyclic dextrin and or Fatago from products like Glycofuse from Gaspari, or my personal favorite is Carbolic or Carbolin from ProSupps. For those that are on a tight budget, you can always use the very easy to acquire Game isotonic powder instead, but higher amounts of this can cause stomach upset around training time, so if you can, rather bite the bullet, pay the money, and rather acquire the products that I've advocated above. I am also personally a massive fan of a product called 4-hydroxyisoleucine, which is also known as fenugreek extract and alpha-lipoic acid. So I combine a serving of ProSupps halotropin and 600 to 900 milligrams of dual-form alpha-lipoic acid pre and post-workout for the biggest, baddest, and most efficacious possible insulin bang, aside of using actual endogenous insulin. I'd advise caution when running this protocol, as the risk of hypoglycemia is very high if your carbohydrate intake is insufficient. Read the disclaimers and dosing advocations on the bottle, and as always, take the guesswork out completely by hiring a qualified, reputable coach that has something hard to source in the South African fitness industry today: a fucking brain. I-Load, halotropin, Carbolic, Glycofuse, all of these products are available at your local Chrome store and or Extreme Nutrition, and very recently a lot of your ProSupps products are now available at your nearest discount. Post your comments below and I'll be happy to field some of your questions, queries and concerns, and thank you very much for tuning in.